afternoon. You're watching Business World Live. I'm Jes Delos Santos. Let's take a look at how the local bourse closed today, Friday. All right, not much movement among local shares today. The index ends the week little changed, up just 0.1% to 6,728.55. That's on Friday's close. Of course, amid a decision of Metro Manila mayors to impose a uniform curfew for the next 2 weeks in Metro Manila. That's going to be from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. The president said Thursday that he is tinkering with the idea of further reopening the economy in weeks once at least 1 million Filipinos have been inoculated. That's despite cases spiking to the 3,000 level, its highest in 6 months. Keeping track of how the index performed this week amid the surge in cases, as well as the detection of more new variant cases, shares declined 2.2%. That's for the entire week, losing 152 points. The index year to date is lower by 5.76%, with net foreign selling still persisting. That's on an 18-day streak today, with offshore investors dumping 602.9 million pesos. That puts total net sales value for the week at 12.5 billion pesos, up from just 2.8 billion pesos last week. But one other thing we have to be taking note of, trade figures with exports in January sinking once again after 2 months in the positive territory. That fell 5.2% to $5.49 billion. That drop largely unexpected, with analysts estimating a 3.6% climb. Imports likewise declined faster than how it was the previous months. That plunged 14.9% to $7.9 billion. Imports have been on the downtrend for 21 months now. That brings trade deficit wider at $2.421 billion from the revised $2.149 billion back in December. After that economic data, let's zoom in on one specific sector here, the telco space. That's after President Duterte inked Executive Order 127. That expands access to satellite technology, amending an earlier EO requiring congressional franchise for telcos before getting access to satellite facilities. The order includes fixed or mobile and international or domestic facilities. Duterte also ordered the Department of Information and Communication Technologies to pursue policies to get orbital slots for Philippine satellites. Looking at how our telcos perform today, as you can see here, PLDT, quite modest gains here, up just 0.15%, now priced at 1,311. Globe, however, on a decline here, now valued at 1,960 a share. Now, the third telco player has been on quite a drop the past days. I'm talking about Dito Telecom Unity. Its longest slump yet in 13 months over valuation concerns, but that has since recovered beginning yesterday after a 17% climb, and the rally continues today. Dito Telecom Unity has just clarified rather that it's expecting EBITDA. I'm sorry, it's the wrong chart right here. This is Converge, but for Dito, it has clarified that it is expecting EBITDA to be positive in 3 years' time here. This as they project profitability by their 5th year, having paid off loans. Now, the new entrant also confirms that they are targeting to enter the fixed home broadband market in the next 2 years. The stock today advancing 8.4% to 11 pesos and 38 centavos a share after sinking to a low of 9 pesos a piece on Wednesday. Dito's goal is to have a 30% market share. They've already started operations in Visayas and Mindanao, and they hope to begin rollout in Manila by May or June. And of course, we can't tackle this sector without getting into Converge here, ending 2020 as one of our gainers after net income grows by 74% to 3.4 billion pesos. It's due to a pandemic-induced shift, of course, to from home setups, increasing demand for broadband services. The internet provider also beefing up its arsenal in 2021 as it boosts capex by 25% to 20 billion pesos. Converge started the day on a tear here, but that has since pared back, ending the day unmoved to 17 pesos and 18 centavos a share. All right, to talk about their stellar numbers in 2020 and how they're gearing up for wider coverage this year, we have on the show Converge CEO and co-founder Dennis Anthony Oy. Good afternoon, Sir Dennis.
Good afternoon, yes, sir. Thank you for having me here.
All right, sir, what a growth on your bottom line for 2020, pushed mainly by the residential business. By how much of a bump up are you expecting in demand this year?
The growth we have before pandemic, we just only have that new ads almost 20 to 30 K in a month. But during the pandemic, this boost of also because of the lockdown required because of this pandemic, everyone stay home and you need to have study at home, education at home, and office at home. And demand of the individual home should be minimum at 500 gig. No? So the demand of the fiber is very high because only the fiber can deliver that huge requirement of the individual users. So which is happened, we hitting close to 80,000 ads a month of during this pandemic days. No? But traditionally, until today, because of our massive rollout, you can see the growth is still there because in the Philippines, we still have only 10% of the home penetration in terms of high-speed broadband in fiber, far beyond the Asian countries. No? Vietnam, Thailand, they're more than 30 or 50% of the household penetration already. So the market I'm seeing in 2021 is still very strong. That's we are very predicting.
When do you see us catching up with our neighbors? Like what you mentioned in the likes of Vietnam, I mean, penetration is at 30%, like what you were referring to. When do you see us reaching those levels?
I think because in the speed of the rolling out, especially in the Philippines, we have geographical islands. No, we have so many. It's not easy to roll out in the fixed. No, fixed is imagine it's street, it's home. You need to prepare the fiber to ready to drop individual homes. By 2025, our target is like 55% of the home pass network to whole country. So that's around 25 million. We might hitting 13 million home pass network by 2025.
And do you feel like you are on track to meet that target?
Yes, we're pretty sure on that because we are have own construction arm, and we last year we did additional 1.5 million ports, and this year we might increase additional 1.5 to 2 million ports for 2021.
But are you expecting to demand to at least taper a bit this year? Especially, we're expecting, of course, restrictions to be eased quite a bit, or do you see the momentum being sustained?
You know, momentum is still there. You know, Filipino users, especially, we are tech savvy, and I tell you, the population of the Philippines, the young median age is almost high. Like we are among the highest in terms of this young generation, Gen X, all this tech savvy, and we have 70 million users in the Facebook. So these people are really hungry for high-speed broadband. And imagine a while ago I mentioned only 10% have connected in home in the fiber broadband at this moment.
Okay, but when you compare that as well to your enterprise segment, numbers are quite modest here. That posted a 9% in 2020. How do you plan to scale that up in 2021?
The enterprise, you can see this affected by the pandemic. In spite of this pandemic issue, SME is most affected of the business. In spite of that, we still grew almost 9%. Hopefully, after this knockdown or this vaccine coming here to this year, if not, we still need to grow on the coverage in terms of land space. We expanding besides Mindanao. When you have these major cities wired, and automatically the enterprise will grow also.
Okay, at the same time, one bit of news here. You have your CapEx, you're boosting that by 25% this year. How do you plan to spread that? Will bulk of it still be going to your expansion plans in Visayas and Mindanao? Or what's the focus then for Luzon?
Our strategy is go nation and go deep. No? So okay. Luzon is still the biggest market share in this segment. We still have, imagine Luzon is 60% of our population, and 40% is in Visayas, Mindanao. So besides Mindanao, we might putting like this year around 30% of our loads in terms of that ports. And the whole plan, we will put 2 million port when I mentioned a while ago. If you're talking with, this is almost 80% of the 25 million we're going to put on. And we're going to put another 20% of our budget, or one item is the backbone, which is we need to connect inter-islands, which is we're going to do next week. And the cable ship is already in Batangas. In fact, our landing station is ready, and including the backbone, the whole besides Mindanao is ready. We have ODN, and we just lay down this domestic sea cable, and we light up by first half of the year. So this ready for the besides Mindanao.
All right, those developments we'll be keeping track of in the first half of the year. Your area of coverage in 2020 has also doubled to 316 cities. How many more are in the pipeline this year?
I think this coming year is we targeting first the major city, including the portion of the tip of the north of the Luzon, Isabela, Tuguegarao, this Lawag, and Nueva Vizcaya. We have ready port already there. So in the Visayas, I think we have major city like Cebu, Mandawi, and I think we have additional at least minimum. We need to have at least one third or one fifth of additional in current cities right now.
Now, also, sir, what was once a free area for Converger and fiber internet is now facing some level of competition here, also with the entry of Dito. How are things shaping up when it comes to the landscape here? How are you shaping up at least against competition this time around?
The competition I did not feel is there yet, because I mentioned already just only 10% of our home penetration. They say space for everyone. I think the more player, the better for our consumer, and the more competition is good for our consumer. In fact, if you're talking with the space, I think this additional 4 to 5 years, we still have space to able to reach that peak of the penetration to the home.
And now, lastly, sir, back in February, you did say that it was quite still premature to talk about this, but I just want to know, are there any developments regarding your possible dealings with Elon Musk and SpaceX?
The SpaceX is really premature to talk about it, but because we are a broadband and fiber provider, and this is, you can see the technology fiber. Fiber is a lot better than satellite anywhere you go. Satellites, still, even you bring the satellite orbit to the lower, it still have a 30 milliseconds. Fiber, just only 1 milliseconds difference, the speed. So if you're talking with price in satellite, should be more expensive than fiber, right? So this is for complementary to our network. Those who area like resort, mining companies, or the community cannot reachable by our fiber infrastructure. So this is complementary to serve the entire segment of the market in the Philippines. That's bring us to have a strong complementary.
Okay, so should this deal push through, let me just clarify, it's really going to target far-flung areas.
Yes, anywhere, including the sea. So you can, even the marinas, and you have speedboat, or you want to have control all these vessels, so you can track everywhere.
Do we have a timeline for this, sir?
This is not easy, but timeline, if this technology is ready, I think they said it's 2022. That is the serving area for this country. Yeah.
Okay, that's quite soon. Come next year during election year. So that's something we are going to look forward to. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Converge CEO and co-founder, Sir Dennis Anthony Way. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here are other headlines we're keeping our eyes on. Multilateral banks are extending more loans to help the Philippines fund its COVID-19 vaccination program. The Asian Development Bank approved a $400 million loan for the country's vaccine procurement. COVID-19 vaccine doses that have arrived in the country are either donated or acquired through the WHO COVAX facility. The ADB noted how vaccines play a critical role in accelerating economic recovery in the Philippines. The World Bank likewise approved $500 million in funding for Philippines' pandemic response. The World Bank loan seeks to support the country's vaccine rollout and strengthen its health systems. Last year, the multilateral lender already extended some $600 million in funding to help cushion the blow from the pandemic. An Israeli-Filipino pharmaceutical firm is seeking authorization to manufacture oral COVID-19 vaccines in the Philippines. PEZA says its board is set to approve the company's application in one of its ecozones. The firm is targeting to make the Philippines its manufacturing hub in the Asia-Pacific region. The Investments Promotion Agency says more details on the investment will be released once their application has been approved. The PEZA board is set to meet today to discuss the matter. And those are the biggest news this trading day, March 12, 2021. Catch Business World Live Monday next week at 9:30 a.m. for the market open and 3:15 p.m. for the market close. I'm Jes Delos Santos. We are One News. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. Have a great weekend.